Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much, dear Ram Tulsi Prabhu, for that very kind introduction. And thank you so much, dear devotees, for very kindly joining. In less than 20 days, I'm again back to ISKCON of Bergen County, New Jersey. Last time we met was for the two-part series on the Mukundamala Stotra. And somehow Radharani is kind, Krishna is kind, that he has brought me back at the service of all the devotees at the ISKCON of Bergen County, New Jersey. I was asked to speak by Prabhu and the temple on this very beautiful section that comes in the Krishna book of Krishna getting married to Rukmini. Very famous section, and most devotees, I've heard this multiple times, whether through the TV serial of Krishna or like so many others that keep coming in. Most devotees are kind of acquainted with it, but we will try to hear some aspects of Krishna's stay at Dwarka with Rukmini and Satyabhama, and some things that our acharyas give, which probably we may or may not have heard in the past. So we'll just try to add some acharya commentaries to our discussion. But before we get started, let us all chant the Mangalacharan prayers, seek auspiciousness from our spiritual superiors like Srila Prabhupada, and then get started in today's discussion. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Stute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamineti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ananda Leelamaya Vigrahaya Hemavadivyacha Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai, Shri Nityananda Rama ki Jai, Shri Kartik Maas ki Jai. Dear devotees, thank you again very kindly for assembling here, desiring to hear Hari Katha. In fact, this is the best thing that we can do in the month of Kartik. Taddinam durdinam manye megachanam na durdine. That day is not a bad day, Shastra explains. That day is not a bad day when it is very cloudy, very gloomy. And if you don't know what cloudy weather is, please come to Seattle. You can see that on a daily basis. Every single day in Seattle is like almost the UK weather. It's gloomy and it'll be drizzling. Taddinam durdinam manye megachanam na durdine. That day is not a bad day when there is lack of sunshine, lack of sunlight, when it's gloomy. That is not a bad day. But yaddinam Krishna samlapa katha piyusha varjita. That day is a bad day when the whole day passes by and we have not heard Krishna katha. That is a bad day, Shastra explains. Taddinam durdanam manye megachanam na durdine yaddinam Krishna samlapa katha piyusha varjita. That day when the ears have not drowned in hearing of Krishna katha, in Gaur katha, that is a bad day. The stock market going up and down or other family issues, well, those are externals. But in the eyes of the Shastra, that day, when the whole day has gone by, day, evening, night, everything has gone by, and we have not heard Krishna Katha, Yaddinam Krishna Samlapa, when we have not associated with Krishna in the form of Hari Katha, that is a bad day. So let us all congratulate ourselves that at least for today, we are hearing Krishna Katha and we are making sure that this day is not a bad day. We are making the best use out of it. Sripad Aindra Prabhu would always say, this is the lazy, intelligent way to progress in bhakti. Lazy because you have to just sit at one place. Intelligent because this is the best limb of Krishna consciousness. We see in the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj says this. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasya Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu Bhaktische Navalakshanam. Bhaktische Navalakshanam. Bhakti ke 9 lakshan hai. These are the 9 lakshan qualities. But it starts with Shravanam. Prahlad Maharaj puts even Kirtanam number 2. But he puts Shravanam first. Because if there is no proper hearing, our Kirtanam will be very mechanical. Our chanting will be very mechanical. We may own a Tesla car. We may own a 120,000 Tesla car, a sports model. But what is the use of that Tesla car if there is no fuel in it? If there is no fuel in it, the Tesla car is not going to go any far ahead. Similarly, Shravanam is the fuel to our Kirtanam. When there is proper hearing, it adds fuel. There is inspiration to our bhajan. Shravan is the fuel to our bhajan. Without Shravan, our bhajan will not go any far ahead. And whatever bhajan we do, it is mechanical. So making sure that in this month of Kartik, our bhajan is in the highest level possible. Let us do some fueling to our bhajan, fueling to our ears in the form of Harikatha. And this is a very beautiful section, dear devotees. We see that Parikshit Maharaj, the scene is set such that Parikshit Maharaj is asking his Gurudev, Srila Shukadev Goswami, that my dear Gurudev, I have heard about Rukmini. I have heard about Rukmini getting married to Krishna. Who was Rukmini? And how did the marriage take place? I have heard that Krishna very heroically, he left everything. He ran away from the battlefield as Ranchod Rai to go and get married to Rukmini. My dear Shukadev Goswami, what is this pastime? And what was the need that Krishna, who's Kshatriya, left the battle? You see, for a Kshatriya to leave a battle to show one's back is very bad. Krishna tells Arjuna that, my dear Arjuna, interestingly we see when Arjuna is having the same dilemma in the Mahabharata, and he sees his family and says, my dear Krishna, how can I fight them? My teacher is there, my family members are there, how can I fight them? And there Krishna inspires him to fight, even though it is family members. But when it comes upon himself, Krishna leaves the battlefield and runs away. He gives an instruction to Arjuna to fight, but जब खुद की बारी आती है, भगवान सब कुछ छोड़कर भाग जाते हैं. How can we understand that Krishna? How can we understand him? That is why Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. My birth and my activities are very transcendental. So one may be a PhD, one may be very qualified academically, but still one may not get complete access to Krishna's pastimes. This has to be done with only one single mood. Tadvidi pranipatena, with humility and with surrender. That is when Krishna is revealed in the heart. So here we find Parikshit Maharaj. For 5 days he has been hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 10, chapter 52, the section of Rukmini, 52, 53, 54. 5 days he has been hearing Bhagavatam. No prasadam, no water. One Kartik Vrat we do, that itself is a big austerity for us. Eating once a day, or no sweet, or no fried, or not eating after sunset, that itself is a big task for us. And we kind of go around telling devotees that, oh, Prabhuji, I would have eaten, but Kartik is going on, my Kartik Vrat is going on. And then devotee will ask, Prabhuji, what is the Vrat that you're doing? Then we'll tell the devotee, oh, I'm not eating sweets, I'm not eating this. One Vrat we do, one Pandav Nirjal we do, that's a big thing for us. Especially the day of Pandav Nirjal, we wait when it's going to be the next day, when we can have water, when we can break the fast. Let us not forget, Parikshit Maharaj has been hearing with no prasadam, no water, nothing absolutely, bearing the sun, bearing the cool breeze of the night, day in and day out for the past 5 days he has been hearing Hari Katha. Last 5 days. Shukadev Goswami looks at him and says, my dear Parikshit, are you not hungry? Are you not thirsty? Maybe you can have something, have some prasad. We will discuss later. Parikshit, on purpose, Shukadev Goswami is trying to trick Parikshit Maharaj to see how much thirst he has for hearing. So he tells Parikshit Maharaj that you can have something, then we will discuss Katha. Samay hai, don't worry, we will discuss later. But when Parikshit Maharaj hears this, very beautifully Parikshit Maharaj says, Vayam dhanyatama loke guropi kshatra bandhava vayam piba muhustvatva punyam Krishna kathamritam. My dear Gurudev, I do understand your concern that I have not eaten anything. But my dear Gurudev, you already know that externally I may have not eaten anything. But Punyam Krishna Kathamritam, the last 5 days, the nectar of Krishna Katha that you have put down my throat, down my ears, this nectar that you have given me, this is more than any prasadam that is put on plate, my dear Gurudev. Externally, I have not eaten anything, but the nectar that you are giving me, this is of the highest caliber. And he tells Shukadev Goswami, Aniyor, 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 don't stop, keep it going, keep it going. My dear Gurudev, please speak. Because there was a time crunch for Parikshit Maharaj. It was day 5. And in 2 days, the Takshak bird is going to come. So he didn't want to waste any time in any mundane activity. So chapter 52, he is asking his Guru Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami, my dear Shukadev Goswami, I have heard about Rukmini. I have heard about Krishna getting married to Rukmini. And I have heard that this marriage was in a very different fashion, not like the normal marriages that happen. My dear Gurudev, please explain, what is this beautiful episode? We see, in fact, the same parallels in the 9th canto. When Shukadev Goswami is speaking the pastime of Ramayana, the pastime of Sri Ram, he just scratches the surface. He just says that, my dear Parikshit, you would have heard that there was a king by the name Dashrath. His son was Ram, and how he got married to Sita. And just in a few chapters, he just finishes it off. But then there also we find Parikshit Maharaj. He stops and he says, Gurudev, please explain a little more in detail. Shukadev Goswami was so eager to describe Krishna's Vraja pastimes that he was just accelerating. He was in full speed, he was going ahead. But then Parikshit Maharaj stops him and says, can you please explain a little more about Sri Ram? And that is when we find Shukadev Goswami spends about 2 or 3 chapters glorifying Sri Ram. Otherwise, he was in no mood. Because he is Radharani's parrot, he is Shukha, he is Radhika's parrot. Why will he spend time glorifying Sri Ram when he is eager to speak about Krishna's Braja pastimes? But because disciple asked, he spends more time. Likewise, here the disciple is asking, Tadvidi pranipatena, pariprashna. Prashna has been asked, question has been asked. Till the time the disciple is not eager, even Gurudev cannot help. Enthusiasm is the life of bhakti. Till the time the disciple is not asking questions, Gurudev cannot help. Till the time there is no hunger in the stomach, how much ever prasadam you keep in front of that person, he is not going to have it because there is no hunger. Similarly, till the time there is no hunger to hear, to chant, to know something about Krishna consciousness, even Gurudev cannot help. But when there is little hunger, then Gurudev will start pouring the nectar of Krishna consciousness in our heart and fill our heart and drown our hearts in complete madness of Krishna consciousness. So Parikshit Maharaj is teaching here as to how a disciple should be. When a disciple goes in front of Gurudev, one should ask questions, make enquiry. So from here, Shukadev Goswami starts speaking about this very wonderful episode. And he explains as to how there was a king by the name Maharaj Bhishmaka in the Vidarbha province. And Maharaj Bhishmaka, who was there in Vidarbha, Vidarbha is the present day Maharashtra. It is still present. For those devotees who are from Maharashtra would have heard Vidarbha. This place is still present. So Maharaj Bhishmaka was the king of Vidarbha, and he had 5 sons and 1 daughter. Rukmi, Rukma Bahu, Rukma Kesha, Rukma Ratha, and Rukma Mali. 5 sons. And the daughter is Rukmini. So Rukmini was the last child, only daughter and the last child. 5 sons, 1 daughter. Rukmi, Rukma Bahu, Rukma Ratha, Rukma Mali, Rukma Kesha, Rukmini. Now, I am pretty sure you will have this question. Why is everyone's name starting with Rukma? Why has the father named them such that all their names are starting with Rukma? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur answers this by saying, in Sanskrit, Rukma means gold. Rukma in Sanskrit basically means gold. Because all of them had a golden luster to their body, they have this word Rukma. It's an adjective basically, a prefix. Because their bodily complexion was like gold, golden luster. Not as golden as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but just a golden luster. And this is why they all have the name starting with Rukma. So 5 sons, 1 daughter. Rukmi, Rukma Bahu, Rukma Mali, Rukma Ratha, Rukma Kesha. 5 sons, and the last child and the only daughter is Rukmini. While Rukmini was there in Vidarbha province, Narad Muni would come there, the transcendental spaceman. Narad Muni would come there. Narad Muni is very fortunate. And we have to travel to Vrindavan. This is the month of Kartik. We see so many devotees are traveling to Braj and Mayapur and Jagannath Puri. We have to travel. We have to make so many arrangements. At least those devotees who are in America. We have to make so many arrangements. Right? From travel tickets to where we are going to stay. If we are going to Delhi, from Delhi to Vrindavan, how to go. And of course, if you are on immigration, then there is another headache that comes along with it. Your H1 stamping, this stamping, that stamping. So many headache that comes along with it. So for us to go outside of our country, outside of America, there's so much burden that comes along with it. But for Narad Muni, there's nothing like that. He has to just think, and wherever he thinks, he directly goes there. No airplane, no tickets, no cars, no immigration, nothing. He straight away can go there. The transcendental spaceman. And wherever Narad Muni goes, he doesn't just go there silently. He does kirtan. He always has a veena. He's always doing kirtan. What kirtan does he do? Narad Muni bajaye veena Radhika Ramana Name. O Narad Muni bajaye veena Radhika Ramana Name. Narad Muni bajaye veena. He is playing veena. Just like in our ISKCON temples, we have harmonium, mridanga and karatal. But Narad Muni, he plays the veena. But while he's playing the veena, what does he do? Radhika Ramana Name. He is singing the glories of Radha Raman, Radha and Krishna. always chanting. So while we are playing instruments also, this is a very important point. While we are playing instruments also during Kirtan, we should always keep chanting. We should always keep chanting. Not just the lead singer, but all those who are there around. Whether we are playing kartals, mridanga, the tongue should be moving. Sripad Indra Prabhu would say, if you're just playing instrument and not singing, then you're just making noise. You're just making noise if you're not singing. So both go hand in hand. Playing instrument and the tongue vibrating. So Narad Muni is playing the instrument and his tongue is vibrating. And when he came to Vidarbha province, he was speaking Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, Braj Katha, Braj Rasik Katha. He was speaking about the glories of Vrindavan Dham, Krishna stay in Braj. How beautifully Krishna wears a peacock feather. How beautifully Krishna has a Pitambar Vesh. How beautifully Krishna has a Kamar Patta. When Krishna has to play with his friends, Krishna has a nice Kamar Patta to make sure his dhoti doesn't come down. You see, sometimes when you're wrestling, you're doing kusti, there is a chance, dhoti may come down. So Krishna is making sure his dhoti is not coming down. And with that Kamar Patta, to the left side, he's tucking his flute. Krishna is very fond of his flute. Even while fighting, he wants his flute. While sleeping, he wants his flute. While stealing butter, he wants his flute. While eating dirt, he wants his flute. The flute is always there with Krishna. How very beautifully Krishna is dancing with the peacocks. How he is dancing with the Braja Gopis. Barha Pidam Natavara Vapu Karana Yoho Karanikaram. As to how Krishna has 2 ears but has one flower, one Karanikara flower. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that is Shukadev Goswami making a mistake? 2 ears means there should be 2 flowers. But why is Krishna having 2 ears and only 1 flower? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the restless nature of Krishna has been explained here. When Krishna is there with his friends and the gopis are there to the side, Krishna is there with his friends during daytime. So the gopis, they see Krishna and in their heart they are thinking that Krishna, we have to wait 12 more hours to be with you. We have to wait 12 more hours. Only when the sun sets and the moon rises can we be there with you. So Krishna places the flower on his ear in the direction of the gopis to give them assurance. My dear gopis, don't worry. I am there with you all. The 12 hours will go by very fast. Don't worry. And then Krishna's friends are thinking, Krishna, you are there with us, but your heart is there. So Krishna again takes his flower from here and keeps it here, almost to tell the friends that, oh friends, don't worry, I'm there with you also. Krishna is pulled in a tug of war of love between his friends and the Braja Gopis. He's just keeping his flower from one ear to another ear to another ear to another ear. My worshipable spiritual master, Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj, when he was speaking this section, he was saying this in Hindi. I think most devotees follow Hindi. He was saying that Bhagavan जब वृंदावन में थे तो अपने कर्णों में कर्णिकार पुष्प धारण करते थे. लेकिन आज कलयुग में देखिए कोई पुष्प धारण नहीं करता, लेकिन सब पेंसिल लगा के घूमते हैं. You see carpenters, they keep a pencil over their ear and they walk. And Srila Guru Maharaj said, द्वापर में ठाकुर जी कर्णिकार पुष्प रखते थे और वही कलयुग आया नहीं कि सब कारपेंटर लोग पेंसिल रख के घूमते हैं. ये है कलयुग. And we see that especially in India, maybe not in America, but those who have seen the carpenters in India, they will keep a pencil over their ear. So this Braj Katha, which is so sweet, sweeter than the sweetest, the best sweet, Narad Muni is saying, and Rukmini is hearing. She is hearing. Dear devotees, let us remember she has not seen Krishna. She is only hearing. Exactly in the situation we are in. Rukmini's pastime is very relatable to us, dear devotees. Rukmini had not seen Krishna. We have not seen Krishna. Rukmini is hearing Hari Katha, and we are also hearing Hari Katha. Later we find, as to just by hearing Hari Katha, Rukmini gets attracted to the lotus feet of Krishna. So there is every hope for all of us that just by hearing Shravanadi Shuddha Chite Karvai Udoy, the Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that just by hearing Shravanadi Shuddha Chite, the Chitta becomes Shuddha, and Karvai Udoy, the dormant Krishna prem that is there, the prem that is dormant in our heart, that will rise. Just like we have a seed, and inside the seed, the whole tree is there, right? Inside an apple seed, the whole apple tree is there. But as time progresses, that seed transforms into a tree and gives sweet fruits. Similarly, right now, Krishna prem is in a seed form in our heart, dear devotees. But by watering it with Harinam and by watering it with Krishna Katha, it's going to slowly transform into a big tree, and sweet fruits of love of Godhead will be there in our heart. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. So Rukmini started hearing about Krishna's Braja pastimes. And then she decides to write the first ever recorded love letter. Shastra is everything. Not in today's generation, we find, many may not be the adults, but the teens. I have seen 13, 14, 15-year-old teens, they write emails. 14, 15-year-olds, they write emails saying, Prabhuji, I had a heartbreak. This girl left me, this boy left me. I gave so much to that girl. And I am thinking, you're only 14. What can you give? They will write, I gave so much, but sab chhod ke mujhe chale gayi. She left me. He left me. And you would have very well heard. People sometimes get so fanatic that they write letter and they take a blade and they kind of slit their wrist, and with that blood they write. It may sound very filmy, but you may have heard many examples of people doing that. But it's a very material way of expressing love. The purest and the first ever recorded love letter is seen by Rukmini. Bhagavatam has everything. It has everything. There is no need for anyone to go outside. जो व्यक्ति शास्त्र का रस पकड़ लेता है ना, बाहर जाने की आवश्यकता ही नहीं है. There is no need to go outside. We only go outside when we have not got the nectar of Bhagavatam. I many times say this when I'm speaking to the youth. The youth are very addicted to Hollywood songs and Bollywood songs and rap. That's the latest, rap. And I tell them that Shastra is everything. There is rap in Shastra also. In the Narsingha Puran, there is a very beautiful verse. It almost goes like a rap. Satya Daitya Kula Dinash Samaye Sim Urdva Martya Kriti Tretayam Dashakandaram Pratibhavam Rameti Nama Kriti Gopalam Paripalayam Rajapure Bharam Haram Dwapare Gauranga Priyakirtane Kaliyuge Chaitanya Nama Prabhu. It's almost like a rap. It's almost like a rap. So Shastra is everything. There is no need to go outside. In verses, you will get rap. In verses, you will get nectar. You will get everything. There is no need to go out. And naturally here, Rukmini is hearing about Braj from the highest exalted personality, Narada Muni. You can imagine the profound realization that will be there in her heart. And she writes a love letter. And she gives it to the Brahmana. The Brahmana takes it to Krishna and Dwaraka. And very beautifully Rukmini writes, Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrinvatamte nirvishya karna vivarai haratongatapa rupam drisham drishimatam akhilarta labham tvaya chuta vishati chittam apatrapam me. 10:52:37, the first prayers of Rukmini. If time permits, we can chant her prayers at the end. There are only 6 or 7 verses. Very sweet, very beautiful. She writes, Shrutva Gunan, my dear Krishna, Shrutva, I have heard about what? Gunan, about your qualities. I have heard as to how at the age of 7, for 7 days and 7 nights, you lifted Giriraj, that is 7 krosha, to protect the Brajavasis. How you danced on the slippery hoods of Kaliya. How you drank the forest fire almost like drinking lassi. Krishna drank the whole forest fire as if he was drinking some lassi or mango juice without any difficulty. I, Krishna, have also heard as to how at Bhandirvan you would wrestle with Sridham and Subal and Madhumangal. Krishna, I have also heard how you would dance and have Madhuryamai pastimes with the Braja Gopis. Shrutva Gunan. And that is why, Krishna, I am saying you are Bhuvana Sundara. You are the most beautiful. Krishna, not just externally, you are internally also very beautiful. Let us remember, dear devotees, Rukmini has not seen Krishna. All this just by hearing Katha. So there is every hope for all of us. Srila Prabhupada would always say, in this path of Krishna consciousness, one should never feel hopeless. One should never feel hopeless. There is hope for everyone. In whatever situation we are in, there is hope for everyone. Just by hearing Katha, she is writing, Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara. My dear Lord, you are Bhuvana Sundara. Nirvishya Karna Vivarai Haratonga Tapa. My dear Lord, the tapa, the anxiety that is there in my heart, Haratonga, you have stolen that away. You, as your Harikatha, you have entered my ears, and my dear Lord, you have gone inside and stolen that anxiety that was tormenting me. What is the anxiety? The anxiety that Rukmini had was that she was getting married to Shishupal. So Rukmi, who is the oldest brother, was hand in glove with Shishupal, best friends. And because they were the best friends, it was Rukmi who had arranged the marriage of Rukmini with Shishupal. It was not Maharaj Bhishmaka who had arranged, it was Rukmi, the older son, who had arranged, because he and Shishupal were hand in glove. This was the tapa. This was the anxiety that was there in the heart. But Krishna, what did he do? As Hari Katha, Haratonga, he stole that away, Rukmini is saying. Krishna has a name called as Hari. And Rup Goswami explains this word Hari has two meanings. Sarva Amangala Hare, Prem Diya Hare Man. The word Hari has two meanings. First, Sarva Amangala Hare. He steals all the amangal, everything inauspicious. Just like he stole everything inauspicious for Rukmini. And second, Prem Diye Hare Man. He gives prema and steals the heart away. For Rukmini, he did exactly the same thing. He stole the inauspiciousness from her heart and gave her prema, Krishna prema that she was looking for, and the anxiety was completely taken away. So Rukmini is writing this. Shrutva gunan bhuvana sundara shrunvatam te nirvishya karna vivarai haratonga tapa rupam drisham drishimatam akhilarta labham tvaya chuta vishati chittam apatrapam. My dear Lord, now that I've heard about you, Shishupal doesn't even fit in this category, my dear Lord. You are so beautiful. You're so handsome. You're so powerful. Who is that girl who will not want to get married to you, my dear Lord? She is expressing her heart. Rukmini is in such a situation where she's almost about to get married to Shishupal. But she is expressing her heart and begging and beseeching Krishna, my dear Lord, please come and take me away. Kidnap me. No girl would ever expect and write a letter to the boy saying that you not only get married to me, but you kidnap me. The boy and the girl may get into some legal complications. But here Rukmini is writing. She's saying, my dear Lord, just kidnap me, just take me away from here. And that's exactly what Krishna does. Cutting a long story short, we see as to how Krishna reads the letter and then eventually comes to Dwaraka. And like a lion, Kale Nrasimha Nara Loka Mano Abhiramam. Rukmini says, my dear Lord, you are almost like a Narasimha. You are like a lion amongst all the men. The men like Jarasan, Shishupal, Rukmi, Rukmaratha, Rukma Bahu, etc. She says, my dear Lord, they are nothing in comparison to you. You are like a lion in front of them. And Krishna comes and kidnaps Rukmini and takes her to Dwaraka and gets married. And Shastra explains that marriage, there are 7 types of marriage. There are 7 types of marriage. The best form of marriage is seen in the upper planets, where the demigods get married. The next on the list is seen in this world, where the parents arrange a suitable boy or girl. That is the second type of marriage, where the parents arrange. But in that list, there is one kind of marriage which is called as Rakshas Viva, which the Rakshasas do, which the demons do. What is Rakshas Viva? Kidnapping. This act of kidnapping, it is not the demigods who do it. It is not normal people who do it. This is called as Rakshas Viva. And Krishna is ready to do Rakshas Viva to protect his devotees. Krishna is thinking, for time immemorial, people may criticize me that, oh, Krishna did Rakshas Viva. But Krishna is saying that is okay. Chalta hai. For my devotee, I am ready to break any rules and regulations. Krishna gets married to Rukmini in a Rakshas Viva. And not just once. We see for some other queens also, like Bhadra and Lakshmana. Krishna does the same thing. Old habits die hard. Krishna once gets into a habit, and now Krishna cannot stop it. So Krishna does the same, Rakshas Viva, for other queens also. But at this point, dear devotees, this is as far as the pastime is concerned, getting married. But I just want to divert the attention at this point. This is an example of prem. This is an example of love, where Krishna is ready to leave the battle with Jarasan and run away, and then eventually go to Dwaraka and then go and get married to Rukmini. If there is no prem in the heart, why will Krishna do it? But this is not the highest form of prem, dear devotees. Sripad Sanatan Goswami explains, prem has two sides. Just like a coin has two sides, heads and tails. There's like, see, I remember when kids are small, when they're playing cricket or when they're playing soccer or any of these games, you have a toss. Tennis, you have a toss, heads and tails. Who will bat first? Who will bowl first? Similarly, love or prem, Sanatan Goswami says, has two sides, Milan and Viraha. Milan means meeting, union, and Viraha means separation. These are two sides of prema. When there is Milan, when there is meeting, when there is external meeting, I'm saying, when there is external meeting, two people may meet, may have a discussion. But while the discussion is going on, the mind is not absorbed in thoughts of that person constantly. Like, for example, if two people are meeting, the discussions are always present tense. They may not necessarily have discussions as to what we did in the past, or what this person is doing, or what that person is doing. There is external meeting, but the heart or the mind may not be fully engaged. It's possible that two people are meeting, but the mind is there somewhere else. We see this in Bhagavatam class also. A speaker may be speaking, audience may be sitting, but it starts with Shravanam, then 10 minutes into the class, it becomes Snoranam. We start sleeping. And then the mind goes for a world tour. We may be there in the class, but we may still not be there. Right? Similarly, two people may meet, but the mind or the heart may not necessarily be absorbed. This is Milan, Sambhog. But the highest is Viraha, where there is separation. When there is separation, the mind is constantly thinking about that person. What is the example? Sita Devi in Ramayana. When Sita was kidnapped by Ravana and she was there at Ashokvan, we see she was sitting under the tree. And there was sunshine, there was rain, there was everything that was going on. But with her eyes closed, Sita Devi was constantly thinking about Prabhu Sri Ram. She was thinking as to how the first time both of them met. And it's so beautiful. Valmiki Ramayana describes that Sri Ram's Gurudev had requested Sri Ram to go to the garden to pick a flower. So Sri Ram went to the garden to pick a flower. And while he was there in the garden picking a flower, Sita Devi also apparently came there to pick a flower for Devi Puja. And while she was picking flower, Sri Ram was picking flower. As they were picking flower, both of their eyes met with each other. And Sita Devi became very shy and she took the flower and she ran away. Girls generally are little shy. So she takes the flower and she looks at Sri Ram and she runs away. But Sri Ram, as he picked the flower and gave to his Gurudev, he went to Lakshman and started speaking to Lakshman. My dear Lakshman, why is it that after seeing this girl, there is transformation in my heart? I have never experienced this. Why is it that there is transformation? I am Maryada Purushottam. I follow etiquette. I follow rules. I follow principles. But why is it that after seeing this girl, there are transformations in my heart? And Valmiki Ramayana describes Lakshman starts speaking to Sri Ram and says, my dear Ram, I am very much sure that this girl is not a normal girl, but it is destiny that has united you with Maya Sita, and in the future, I am very much sure that she is going to become your consort. It is later that in the Swayamvar that they again meet. The Swayamvar was not the first meeting of Sita and Ram. The first meeting was prior to that. So Maya Sita, when she was there in Ashokvan, while she is there in Viraha, separation, her mind is constantly absorbed. How I met Sri Ram, how I was picking a flower, how he looked at me, and then how this cruel Ravana came and he kidnapped. She was constantly thinking. So in Viraha, our acharyas say, there is more absorption. When there is physical separation, there is more union in the heart. This word Viraha, Guru Govinda Maharaj would very beautifully, he would say, this word Viraha is split into two parts, V and Raha. V stands for Vishesha Rupa, and Raha stands for Rahasyamay Milan. Vishesha Rupena Rahasyamay Milan is called Viraha. What does this mean? There is Viraha, external separation, but there is Rahasyamay Milan. There is confidential meeting in the heart. Viraha. So external separation is there, but there is strong internal meeting. This is what Maya Sita experienced. This is exactly what Rukmini is experiencing prior to meeting Krishna. There is Viraha, external separation, but there is also Viraha, internal meeting. However we take it, there is Viraha in the form of external separation, but there is Viraha, Vishesha Rupena Rahasyamaya Milan. There is confidential meeting of the heart. So people, those who are karma kandis, those who are materialists, they may say, oh, why is it that Rukmini is put into so much pain? Or why is it that Sita Maya is put into so much pain? Well, actually, acharyas explain, it is not pain. This is ananda. This is joy. The more one is separated from their Lord, the more there is crying and there is more remembrance of their Ishtadev. There is more remembrance of their Supreme Lord. More the external viraha, more there is internal viraha. This is a very strong point that our acharyas are explaining. But the point that is to be understood here is, dear devotees, this prem of Rukmini or this prem of Sita Maya towards Ram, this is glorious, yes, but this is not the highest. The highest prem, the culmination, the zenith, where the volcano of prema just simply erupts to the highest degree possible, is seen in the land of Vrindavan Dham. Is seen in the land of Braj. When Satyabhama is speaking to Rohini Maya, she tells Rohini Maya that we are his wives, but that is only for namesake. All the time he's thinking about Braj. He's thinking about the gopis. He's thinking about Radharani. What to speak about Radharani? He's thinking of the maidservants of Radharani. He's thinking of the maidservants of the maidservants of the maidservants of Radharani. Oh, what to speak of that? He's thinking about the cows of Vrindavan. While sleeping at night, Satyabhama is saying, my dear Rohini, let us tell you, while sleeping at night, he is externally there in Dwaraka. And we are his wives, but this is quote unquote only for namesake. While sleeping at night, he says, oh Subal, where are you? Oh Madhumangal, where are you? Oh Stoka Krishna, oh Kinkini, oh Vasudam, oh Dam, where are you? He calls out to his cows, oh Kalindi, where are you? Oh Mridanga where are you? Krishna has a cow in Vrindavan. And this cow is so chubby that Krishna plays on the face of this cow. He plays Mridanga. Krishna, of course, Krishna doesn't have a Mridanga like the way we have in ISKCON. So Krishna wants, his hands are itching to play Mridanga. So he looks at the face of this cow and he starts playing Mridanga. And you see in Mridanga, you have something called as a tihai. Those who play Mridanga know something called as a tihai, which you play at the end. Like tere kite dha, tere kite dha, tere kite dha. You play it at the end, tihai. Mother will be knowing it very well. You play it at the end. So Krishna, he plays the normal beat in the body of the cow. But when it comes to playing tihai, he plays it on the face. He plays it on the face of this cow and says, my dear cow, from today I rename you. Your face is like the face of a mridanga. I rename you. I give you initiation. And from now, your name will be Mridanga Mukhi because your mukha is like Mridanga. So Krishna has a cow by the name Mridanga Mukhi. And the cows are very innocent. They don't tell Krishna, Krishna, don't play on my face. The cows also like it. And because they like, Krishna plays. So while he's there in Dwaraka, he's remembering, oh, Mridanga Mukhi, it's been so long I have not played Mridanga on your face. Oh, Kalindi, where are you? Satyabhama is saying, you say we are the wives and you say we have prema. What prema? He is remembering Vrindavan. And Rukmini says, absolutely. What Satyabhama is saying is correct. At night, while he's sleeping, he's apparently there with me. But while he's sleeping, there are tears flowing from his eyes and he's simply chanting Radhe, 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 Radhe. So much so that our acharyas explain, when Krishna gets up in the morning, dear devotees, the whole pillow is wet by his tears of remembrance of Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan. So now let us introspect. If Krishna really loves the Dwarkavasis and the Dwarka Prem is the highest, why is he thinking about Vrindavan so much? While he's in Vrindavan, he doesn't think about Dwaraka. But while he goes outside of Vrindavan, he simply is remembering Braj, 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 only thinking about Vrindavan. The whole pillow becomes wet, crying the name of Radharani. And Rukmini says, we are wives, but what wife? Only for namesake. He is remembering Radharani. So much so that Satyabhama says, he remembers even the Pulinda Kanya. Pulinda means aborigine. The aborigine girls who are in the outskirts of Vrindavan, he is remembering them also. But he doesn't remember us. He is there with us, but he is not there with us. What is this love? That is when Rohini Maya starts speaking about Vrindavan and that transitions to the Jagannath pastime. That's how the Acharyas take us. So the essence of all prema, dear devotees, is seen in Braj. The essence of all Madhurya Ras is seen in Braj. The essence of all heroic acts is seen in Braj. Krishna, yes, he does a very heroic act of kidnapping Rukmini. But the highest pinnacle of heroism is seen in Vrindavan, where he's lifting Govardhan, where he's drinking forest fire, he's dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, he's killing Aga Baka Shakataka, he's killing all these demons, Agasur, Bakasur, Shakatasur, Aga Baka Shakataka, he's killing all these demons. The highest act of heroism is seen in Braj. The essence of all prem is Braj. The essence of all Madhurya is Braj. And this is what Rup Goswami is wanting to give us. This is what Prabhupada is wanting to give us. Sure enough, we read the sections of Krishna and Dwaraka, but in our heart, we also understand that this is not the ultimate. The ultimate is Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's dealings with his devotees in the land of Braj. तन्नाम चरितादि सुकीर्तनानु स्मृत्य क्रमेण रसना मनसि नियोज्य तिष्ठन् व्रजेत तनुरागि जनानुगामी कालम नयेद अखिलम इति उपदेश सारम. The nectar of instruction, verse number 8, Rupa Goswami explains what is the essence. He gives 11 instructions, but then he gives one essence. What is the essence? Tishtan vraje tad anuragi jananugami. Tishtan vraje, go to Vrindavan. Tishtan vraje tad anuragi jananugami. And follow in the footsteps of the Brajavasis, who are filled with anurag, deep attachment towards Krishna. Kalam nayet akhilam iti upadesha saram. He says this is the saram. This is the essence of all upadesh. Go to Vrindavan and follow in the mood and the footsteps of the Brajavasis. Going to Vrindavan is either going to Vrindavan physically, or if that's not possible, going to Vrindavan mentally, whichever is convenient for us. But at least during these holy months like Kartik, if it's feasible, one should make an attempt. Even if it's a short visit to Brajadham, one should go to recharge their batteries. But if that's not possible, at least once a year, making sure that our batteries are recharged completely by going to Vrindavan Dham. And it's very natural. You see, the moment you land in Vrindavan, everyone is chanting, everyone has a tilak, everyone has dhoti kurta, everyone is saying Radhe Radhe. Every tree has Radhe Radhe. Krishna Balram Mandir 24-hour Kirtan, Raghunath Das Goswami's Samadhi 24-hour Kirtan. Everyone is completely absorbed. So it makes bhakti very easy. It makes bhakti very easy. When you see others doing, it makes it very easy. But you see, the moment we come to America, the moment we keep our feet in Seattle, or the moment we keep our feet in New Jersey, that somehow enthusiasm is lost. The place has so much Shakti. We all have observed this, dear devotees. The place has so much Shakti that it can either take you towards Krishna or take you away from Krishna. Vrindavan pulls you towards Krishna. And all the other places, they pull us away from Krishna. So as much as possible, even if we are away from Vrindavan, we should at least make sure we are not away from the devotees. If we are also away from the devotees and also away from Vrindavan, then no one can help us. Even Krishna will not be able to help us. So the essence of all prema, even though Krishna is kidnapping Rukmini, the essence, the culmination of all prema is seen in the land of Vrindavan, in Krishna's Braja pastimes. And we see that Srila Rupa Goswami in the Lalit Madhav Natak very beautifully explains. Very beautiful. This is so sweet. In the Lalit Madhav Natak, Srila Rupa Goswami explains that when Krishna was in Dwaraka, and Krishna had just got married to Rukmini. Now, this is not there in Bhagavatam. This is Rupa Goswami's realization. Please hear this, dear devotees. Very sweet. Very sweet. When Krishna got married to Rukmini, after marriage, post-marriage, Radharani was there in Vrindavan Dham. And Radharani, in her samadhi, in her meditation, was thinking about Krishna. Krishna has just married Rukmini, but Krishna's heart is still there with Radharani. He has just married Rukmini, but his heart is still there with Radhika. Still heart is still there with Radharani, still there with Radhika. So Radharani is so much in separation. Rupa Goswami explains that Radharani goes to a forest called as Kelanvan in Vrindavan. She goes to the forest of Kelanvan and jumps into the waters of Yamuna and drowns herself. Because there is so much viraha from Krishna that she cannot control. So she goes to Kelanvan, jumps into the waters of Jamuna and drowns herself. But then Rupa Goswami explains, when she goes into the waters of Yamuna, Surya Dev takes her to the sun planet. Radharani from the waters of Yamuna at Kelanvan goes to Surya Loka. And from Surya Loka, she enters Dwaraka as Satyabhama. Rupa Goswami explains. So Radharani enters Yamuna at Kelanvan in separation from Krishna, then is taken and protected by Surya Dev, who later places her safely in Dwaraka as Satyabhama. So that's how Radhika from Braj goes to Suryalok and comes to Dwaraka as Satyabhama. Now, when she comes to Dwaraka Satyabhama, she is coming from the sun planet. Radhika is already very effulgent, very glorious and very effulgent. Now you can imagine, she's already so effulgent. Now she's coming from the sun planet. When she came to Dwaraka, Rukmini saw, hey, wait a minute. Who is she? I thought I am beautiful, but who is she? Seems like she's 10 million times more beautiful than me. So Rup Goswami explains that Rukmini did not want Krishna to see Satyabhama, because Rukmini was thinking to herself, oh, if Krishna sees Satyabhama, then he may not have the same love that he has for me. Just now he has kidnapped me. But if he sees Satyabhama, who's so beautiful, he may not have the same love for me. So Rukmini was trying every bit to make sure Krishna doesn't meet Satyabhama. But somehow, Krishna ends up seeing Satyabhama, and Satyabhama sees Krishna. The first meeting. But because Rukmini was trying to make sure that Satyabhama and Krishna don't meet, Satyabhama was so much sad and so much in separation that she went to Nava Vrindavan in Dwaraka. Dwaraka has Nava Vrindavan. It has New Vrindavan, just like we have New Vrindavan in West Virginia. Similarly, during Krishna's time, Dwaraka had Nava Vrindavan, so that Krishna, whenever he feels separation, he can go to Vrindavan. It was made by Vishwakarma to trick Krishna, quote unquote, to trick Krishna. So Satyabhama goes to Nava Vrindavan and she goes to Kaliya Lake in Nava Vrindavan. Dear devotees, this is in Dwaraka. She goes there and jumps into Kaliya Lake. Why? Because Rukmini is not completely in favor of Satyabhama being with Krishna. So Satyabhama is so much in separation, so much in viraha, that she jumps into Kaliya Lake. And as she jumps into Kaliya Lake, she sees two black serpents are there. And Satyabhama is thinking, yes, please bite me. Let me give up my life. Because if Krishna is not going to accept me, what is the purpose of living? What is the purpose of living? So she jumps into Kaliya Lake. But as she jumps, she's closing her eyes. And then she sees, hey, wait a minute. These serpents are there, but they're not biting me. Have the serpents forgotten their dharma? Their dharma is to bite, but seems like the serpents have forgotten their dharma. But then she realizes that as she jumped into the waters of Kaliya Lake in Nava Vrindavan, in Dwarakadam, Krishna had also jumped behind her and was holding her and protecting her. Krishna has so much love and affinity for all his devotees that Krishna jumped behind Satyabhama to Kali Lake for the second time. The first was in Vrindavan to protect his devotees. And second was he again jumped into Kaliya Lake in the land of Dwaraka to protect Satyabhama. The Supreme Lord is ready to go to any extreme to protect his devotees. Ye yathamam prapadyante. Kripram bhavati dharmatma kshashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. Krishna says, my devotee never perishes. So he protects Satyabhama. And Rukmini, who's standing outside, she sees everything. Even though this was underwater, Rukmini had the vision to see what was going on. And Rukmini sees that how Krishna protects Satyabhama. And then Rukmini was later instrumental in getting Satyabhama married to Krishna. Because Rukmini firsthand saw as to how much Krishna was ready to protect Satyabhama. Who's Satyabhama, dear devotees? Srimati Radharani. Whether it is Vrindavan Dham, whether it is Dwaraka, Krishna has always special affinity towards Srimati Radharani. No one can ever take the position of Srimati Radharani. The love, Sripad Sanatan Goswami explains, the love of Krishna's friends is like a Mount Meru, while the love of the gopis, while the love of the Vatsalya Ras, that's like a sesame seed. The love of Vatsalya Ras is like a sesame seed, while the love of the Braja Gopis is like a Mount Meru. The love of the Braja Gopis is like a sesame seed, while that of Srimati Radharani is like a Mount Meru. It exponentially increases. So even though Krishna kidnaps Rukmini, and even though Krishna gets married to Satyabhama and so many other queens, it is very, very, very clear from the dealings of Rukmini and from the conversations of Satyabhama that Krishna was externally there in Dwaraka, but his heart was always there in Vrindavan. His heart was always there in Vrindavan. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood. Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. Our worshipable land, dear devotees, is the land of Vrindavan. We offer respects to Dwaraka. We offer respects to all other places, to Ayodhya. But the Gaudiya mood, the Gaudiya conception, Mahaprabhu's mood, the six Goswamis' mood is crystal clear, is streamlined Vrindavan Dham. It's streamlined Vrindavan Dham. So even though we read these sections of Krishna kidnapping Rukmini, we also understand in our hearts that the culmination of all this prema is seen finally in the very beautiful, sweet land of Vrindavan Dham, where Krishna tells Uddhava personally, Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. Hey Uddhav, please understand this. Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam na gacchati. I don't keep 1 foot outside the land of Vrindavan Dham. Krishna can never leave Vrindavan. Krishna can never leave Braj. And that is the place where we want to be, where Krishna is always present. In Braj Bhasha, they very beautifully say, I'll end with this. In Braj Bhasha, there's a Braj song. Yeah, they very beautifully say, Braj त्यज के मैं कहीं नहीं जाऊं, रसिक संगन के दर्शन पाऊं, जग से प्रीति हटाई, राधा नाम परम सुखदाई. They very beautifully say, Braj त्यज के मैं कहीं नहीं जाऊं. Leaving Braj, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere. This is Gaudiya mode, dear devotees. Gaudiyas means fanatic about Braj. Fanatic about the land of Vrindavan Dham and Navadvip Dham. Braj tyaj ke main kahin nahi jaun, rasik santan ke darshan pau. The rasik sants, exalted devotees who are there, I want to stay and take their darshan. Jag se preeti hatai. I have lost taste in this jug. Jag se preeti hatai. Radha naam parama sukhadai. Why I have lost taste in this jagat? Because I have got the supreme sweetness of Radharani's name. Radha nama parama sukhadai. So this is our mood. So we read these sections, but have a strong conviction in our heart, and we drill this point in our head that Vrindavan is the ultimate place for the Gaudiyas. And even the Sakhiras that is seen in Braj is way more greater than all the Madhurya that is seen in Dwaraka. Even the Sakhiras is way more greater. So what to speak of Vatsalya, what to speak of the Braja Gopis, and then what to speak of Gopi Chudamani Srimati Radharani. It's the highest expression of love. Having said this, dear devotees, I very humbly want to stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. This is the holy month of Kartik, and I was thinking to myself, the section is Rukmini, but Radharani will not be very happy if it's the month of Kartik and we don't speak about her. It is her month, and we definitely have to purify our tongue and our heart by speaking about Gopi Chudamani Srimati Radharani. Thank you all dear devotees for very kindly being on the call and inspiring me with your presence. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Kartik Maasa ki jai. Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari, bro. Thank you so much for this wonderful talk you have given. Definitely, I was also thinking, without, without Radharani in the past time, definitely it's not a good end, I would say. So as you were mentioning, it's very, very important that how this whole month actually our center ISKCON Bergen has focused on this hearing about Krishna pastime. So every day devotees are speaking different chapters, and as you said, if there is no Shravanam, bhajanam is not going to be strong. And definitely, hopefully, by hearing all these pastimes, our attraction to Krishna gets much more stronger. And I like the point also you were mentioning that, like, how that enthusiasm, that how Rukmini had this enthusiasm, like developing hearing about Krishna, right? This is very, very important for us to actually that's enthusiasm is the life of bhakti, and that can really very important essence to really cultivate that deeper essence of bhakti. Thank you so much for that. So, any devotees have any questions? Please raise your hand. Before that, I'll take 2 minutes to make some small announcement. So, for all the updates, devotees can visit our website, sonofbergen.org. And anybody who likes to sponsors during this Kartik month, they can do online. They can go through the link here in the website. And as you know, every day there's a presentation. Next tomorrow, Nandini Mataji is going to speak on the chapter 55, Pradyumna, that is born from Krishna and Rukmini. That's the topics he's going to speak on. And this Sunday, His Grace Kula Pradeepa Prabhu, who is a pujari from Bhakti Center, is going to speak in our center. So please, devotees, do not miss this opportunity to hear from him. And as we have very important festival is coming, the Kirtan Sound Bath on October 29. This is in a different church. It's a big church. Please, we request all the devotees to share the flyers. Invite all your friends and family. It's going to be very, very wonderful. Many devotees from out of the states are going to come and sing this in this mantra meditation festival. Please definitely do that and do not miss this opportunity. And also, if anyone your friends and families whose kids are very interested to learn the Vedic knowledge, this registration is going to get closed very soon. Please join. Class have already started from September 17th. Please do that. And as we have all the Bhakti Vrikshas, weekly Bhakti Vriksha programs, if anybody is interested, there's a homely, lively programs. Please do that. You can join and register from here also. And every day from Monday to Friday, we have Bhagavad Gita reading from 12 p.m. to 12:15 p.m. And every morning, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., we have a chanting. So thank you, everyone, again. So if anyone has, I think Radhakunda Mataji has a question, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Arjun Sakha Prabhuji, Dhanyavad Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the wonderful, sweet narrations, Prabhuji, as always. So I have a question, Prabhu, because I was not understanding how Radharani's expansion could be Satyabhama, because I think they have different natures. Satyabhama is always in a fighting mood with Krishna, but Radharani is not like that as a left-wing gopi. Sometimes she is, of course, in that, in that mood, but not always like Satyabhama. So how do we understand, Prabhu, Satyabhama is an expansion of Srimati Radharani? Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. We say that this for context, the Braja Gopis have two moods, Dakshin Bhav and Vamya Bhav. And we see the mood of Rukmini and Satyabhama is very different. Rukmini is very submissive. Rukmini is very submissive. When Krishna goes like this, Rukmini goes like this. She's very submissive. But in the case of Satyabhama, it's very different. When Krishna goes like this, Satyabhama goes, he goes even more. So the mood is very different. The same parallels we see in Vrindavan Dham. Rukmini is none other than Chandravali. Chandravali is again very submissive. Very submissive. But Radharani is Madhya. She can be submissive and she can be very volatile also. Radharani is a mixture. So if we are seeing the fiery nature, for example, Lalita Sakhi is very fiery. Lalita Sakhi is very fiery. Where is that fiery nature coming from? It is coming from Radharani. Because all the Braja Gopis are Kaya Vyuha expansions. They are bodily expansions of Radhika. So if someone is having a fiery nature, it has to be there in Radharani. It has to be there in Radharani. And we see Radharani may not always exhibit that in Braj. but she does exhibit it sometimes. We have Man Mandir in Barsana. Man itself means she was angry with Krishna. And then Krishna had to go and ask for prayers and ask for forgiveness. So Radharani also shows anger. In the best example, the Rasa dance, Radharani stormed out. Everything was going picture perfect. Radhika stormed out, which means anger is there. Anger is there. But in Braj, it's in a more balanced fashion, where there is sometimes submissive and sometimes there is volatile, fiery nature. But in Satyabhama, it's predominant fiery nature. And that's just one mood of Radhika. That's just one mood of Radharani. We see that even Satyabhama, when she comes down in this world of, in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, she comes as Jagadananda Pandit. And Jagadananda Pandit had the same mood, very fiery. Jagadananda Pandit would chastise Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Mahaprabhu's servant, but it would look like Mahaprabhu's a servant and Jagadananda Prabhu's Pandit is the master. He would go and chastise Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu would love it because he knew that Jagadananda Pandit is not different from Satyabhama. And Satyabhama has this fiery nature. But Satyabhama is getting this fiery nature. Satyabhama is Radharani. So all these natures, whether fiery or being submissive, it is coming from Radharani. Even the nature of Chandravali of being submissive, it is coming from Radharani. Chandravali is the sister, cousin sister of Srimati Radharani. But all these natures are coming from Radharani. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes there are so many moods, 360 various moods of Radharani. 360 moods of Radharani. How many moods do we have? Happy, sad, और क्या है? If you start counting, शायद 5 भी cross नहीं होगा. How much? We have happy, we have sad. What else? I can't think of anything else.
Angry.
Huh?
Angry.
Angry, yeah, angry. 3. Very happy. 2 excited. More happy, most happy. We don't have much. We have just a handful. Radharani has 360 moods, and now these moods are individual and sometimes like wave, they mix, they splash. Different moods splashing towards each other. This is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go mad at Gambhira, because one mood of Radharani with another mood of Radharani would just splash his heart and he would just go mad and he would go and hit his head against the wall. This is Radha Bhav. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming down to understand this mood of Radharani. So Radharani is different moods, and this mood of being angry or sulking anger, as they call man, is there in Radharani. So that is just seen in Satyabhama, predominant, but it's a mood of Srimati Radharani.
Very nice, wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the clarification. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, Rashi Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the enlightening class. I think you were explaining, but maybe I was not able to follow. So I would like to know that this pastime of Krishna and Rukmini Vivaha, what is the teaching we can draw out of it, or what is the lesson for us in this, if there is any? Because this is the Leela Krishna performed, right? So what should we draw out of it?
Every pastime of Krishna has some lesson or the other. Krishna, every pastime that Krishna does has some entertainment in the form of Manoranjan, but there is also teaching in the form of Atmaranjan. The lessons cause a transformation of the heart. What is the one principal fundamental lesson that we can take? What is the one motivation that we can take? Is that Rukmini never saw Krishna, but still got Krishna just by hearing Krishna Katha. She developed the dormant love for Krishna just by hearing. Similarly, we have also not seen Krishna. So just by simply hearing Krishna Katha sincerely every single day, there is every hope that we will also develop that dormant love that we have in our heart for Shri Krishna. Shravanadi Shuddhachite Karvai Uday. It will be Uday. It will rise in the heart. The way we say for sun, Surudev Uday, we say it rises. Similarly, it will rise in the heart. It will Uday. It will rise in the heart. Just by hearing. Rukmini never saw, but just by hearing, She got attracted to Krishna and Krishna came and kidnapped her. Similarly, we have not seen Krishna, but just by hearing about Krishna, Krishna as Hari Katha will come and kidnap our hearts away. And one day he will kidnap us and take us to Golok Dham also. There is every hope. There is every hope. Does that help?
Very beautiful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? So thank you everyone again.
I know it's 9:50, bro, but do we have 3 or 4 minutes? We can quickly chant the prayers of Rukmini.
Sure, please.
Yes. It's a very beautiful section, only 6 or 7 verses. Those devotees who have chanted, we can chant along, and those devotees who haven't, we can see how it goes. This is Canto 10, chapter 52, text 37 to 43. The beautiful love letter that Rukmini wrote, the prayers of Rukmini. Shri Rukmini Uvacha Shrutva Gunan Bhuvana Sundara Shrinvatam Te Nirvishya Karna Vivarair Haratong Rupam Drisham Drishimatam Akhilartha Labham Tvaya Chuta Vashati Chittama Patrapam Me Katva Mukunda Mahati Kulashila Rupa Vidya Vayodravina Dhama Viratma Tulyam Dhirapatim Kulavati Navrinita Kanya Kalendra Simhanaraloka Manobhiramam Tanme Bhavan Khalu Vrata Patirangajayam Atma Vitascha Bhavatotra Vibho Videhi Mavira Bhagam Abhimashtratu Chaidyamarat Goma Yuvan Ragapater Balimam Bujaksha Purteshtu Datta Niyama Vrata Deva Vipra Gurvachanadhibiralam Bhagavan Pareshah Aradhito Yadigada Grajayetya Panim Grinhatu Mena Damagosha Suta Dayonye Swabhavinitmajito Dvahane Vidharban Gupta Sametya Pritana Patibi Paritah Nirmatya Chaidya Magadendra Balam Prashasya Mam Rakshasena Vidinodvaha Virya Shulkam Anta Purantara Charim Manihatya Bandhun Tvamudvahe Katamiti Pravadam Upayam Purve Dirasti Mahati Kuladeva Yatra Yasyam Bahir Navavadhur Girijamupeyat. Last verse. Yasyangri Pankaja Rajas Napanam Mahanto Vanchantyumapatirivatma Tamopahatyai Yaryam Bujakshana Labaye Bhavat Prasadam Jayam Asun Vratakshana Shata Janmani Syat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you.